Everyone's going to think we're crazy, Caleb muttered, tightening his grip on the ship's control console. The Nomad hummed through the empty void of the Orion expanse, a small cargo vessel in a galaxy that barely noticed humans. The stars outside were calm, glittering like distant fireflies, but inside the cabin, tension buzzed louder than any engine. Mara Lynn, sitting across from him, didn't respond. Her eyes were fixed on a holographic projection of dozens of alien star systems, their grids and trade routes blinking in delicate patterns. "We're not crazy," she said finally. "We're going to make them notice humans, whether they like it or not." Her voice was calm, but Caleb could see the spark of excitement in her eyes. Mara thrived on impossible ideas. She always did. "You know this is just a prank," Caleb said, scanning the projection. "No human has ever done anything to impress a star system, let alone the entire galaxy. This is dangerous." "Exactly," Mara replied. "Danger is what makes humans interesting. They'll be watching, wondering how we did it, or if we even can. That's what matters." Caleb leaned back, feeling the weight of the irony. Humans were small, chaotic, unpredictable. Most alien civilizations dismissed them as nuisances. Traders laughed at their barter attempts. Diplomats ignored them. And yet here he was, about to spread a lie across dozens of star systems. A story that humans had once performed a miracle at Christmas, saving entire civilizations from a supernova explosion. It was nonsense. Pure fabrication. But Caleb smiled at the thought. A harmless prank, he told himself. A story to make aliens laugh, or at least shake their heads. He keyed the comm system. Light danced across the cabin as the holographic interface lit up with translations into alien languages. The tale was detailed, full of heroic humans, impossible technology, and cosmic generosity. Images of holographic gifts, delivered across planets, blinked into existence. Mara leaned closer. "Start it. Let's see how far the humans' myth can spread." Caleb hesitated. For a moment he wondered what it would feel like if the galaxy believed him. The weight of the unknown pressed in. He took a deep breath and hit send. At first there was nothing. Silence. Only the quiet hum of the Nomad's engines and the steady pulse of distant stars. Caleb laughed, a short, relieved sound. "Well, that's that. No one will even notice." Then the comm monitor blinked red. A dozen incoming messages. Then 100. Then thousands. Holograms of alien faces filled the projection. Faces of every shape and color, eyes wide, jaws slack, signals of shock and disbelief. Their messages were urgent, demanding, questioning. Aliens wanted proof. They wanted humans to replicate the miracle. Caleb froze. This is too fast. His mind raced. What had started as a simple joke was now an avalanche. The galaxy was listening. The galaxy was watching. And they were not impressed, they were insistent. Mara's calm demeanor cracked for the first time. We didn't think they'd take it seriously," she admitted. Her fingers hovered over the controls, ready to shut everything down. "They're going to come looking for us." Caleb's chest tightened. Humans had always survived on luck, on stubbornness, on the ability to improvise in impossible situations. But this was something else. Alien fleets could track them, intercept them, destroy them if they wanted. A joke had turned into a life-or-death scenario. Tuvin, their human-alien hybrid diplomat, spoke up from the corner of the cabin. "If they come, we can't run forever. We'll need a plan. And quickly." His voice was steady, but Caleb heard the tension beneath it. Tuvin had seen galaxies burn in conflict. He wasn't worried about storytelling, he was worried about survival. Outside, a distant star blinked in unnatural colors, a signal relayed from a far-off system responding to the human broadcast. It wasn't just curiosity anymore, it was a summons. Entire alien fleets were beginning to mobilize. The galaxy had taken the lie seriously. And the humans who told it were about to pay the price. Caleb's hands tightened around the console. "We need to move," he said. "We can't just hide and hope they forget. They'll track us and we won't survive. Mara, we need to think bigger. Smarter. If they think we performed miracles before, maybe we'll have to prove it." Mara's lips pressed together. "Prove it? You're serious?" "I didn't say we can, but we have to try. Or the galaxy will crush us. They don't negotiate with lies. Only with results." Tuvin nodded, the shadow of a smile crossing his face. "Then let's get to work. Humans survive where others fail. Let's remind them why." Caleb looked at the vast blackness beyond the Nomad's windows. Stars sparkled indifferently as if mocking the small crew huddled inside. The galaxy didn't care about humans. Yet. But humans had a way of surviving impossible odds. Always had. The first alien scouts appeared on their sensors. Small, fast, armed with weapons designed to intimidate. The chase was beginning. The lie that Caleb thought would be harmless had already ignited a storm. And somewhere in the expanse, the galaxy was holding its breath, waiting to see if humans were truly as miraculous as their stories claimed, or if the tiny chaotic species would vanish under the weight of their own daring. Caleb swallowed hard. One thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same. Caleb's eyes scanned the holographic radar as the first alien scouts darted into range. They were sleek, predatory ships, far faster and better armed than the Nomad, but humans had something the galaxy rarely counted on: audacity and ingenuity. Multiple contacts closing in fast, Mara said, her fingers flying over the control console. Her calm voice hid the tension coiling in the cabin. They've already adapted to our signal patterns. They know we're here. Caleb clenched his jaw. Then let's give them a chase they'll never forget. The Nomad shuddered as energy pulses from alien ships brushed past its hull. Mara adjusted the shields, rerouting power from non-essential systems. Sparks danced across the panel, small fires threatening to ignite. Every second was a gamble. Every wrong move could tear the ship apart. Hold steady, Tuvin said, scanning the alien communications. His hybrid senses caught nuances humans often missed. They're coordinating. They think we're hiding something valuable. Something miraculous. Caleb's stomach tightened. That was the danger. The galaxy believed humans had done the impossible before. Now they expected it again. And humans? They had nothing, just courage, cunning, and sheer determination. Do you remember what Mara said? Caleb muttered under his breath. Danger makes humans interesting. He pushed the throttle forward. The Nomad leapt into a narrow asteroid field, dodging jagged rocks that could shred the hull. The alien scouts followed, calculating every move with cold precision, but the field was chaotic, unpredictable. Mara grinned briefly. And humans thrive in chaos. Caleb's heart pounded. They weaved through the dense asteroid belt, sparks flying as minor collisions scraped the ship. Alien ships couldn't adjust fast enough. For a moment, the Nomad had the advantage. But the relief was fleeting. Scouts were relentless. More ships were coming. One burst of alien fire tore through the trailing engine compartment. Alarms blared. Smoke filled the cabin. Caleb slammed switches to seal off damaged sectors. We're not going down here, he said, teeth clenched. Not yet. Mara worked feverishly to stabilize the shields. We can't outrun them forever. They'll surround us. We need a plan, something unexpected. Tuvin's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. Unexpected is our specialty. Humans always find a way when the odds are impossible. But we'll need to push every system to the limit. Caleb swallowed hard. They were small, outnumbered, and outgunned. Yet the impossible had always been the stage for human ingenuity. They'd survive or they'd die trying, but they wouldn't surrender. A warning flashed across the radar. An alien dreadnought had entered the expanse. Massive, heavily armed, capable of obliterating the Nomad in seconds. Caleb felt a cold weight settle in his chest. This wasn't a chase anymore. It was a trap. Options? He asked, trying to steady his voice. Mara's fingers flew over the console. We can use the asteroid belt to our advantage, collapse sections to block pursuers. But it's risky. One miscalculation and we're dead. Tuvin's expression was calm but focused. Or we can send a signal to lure them into thinking we're fleeing to a weak sector. Then strike with the environment, not weapons. The galaxy doesn't expect humans to fight smart. Caleb's mind raced. Every second brought new danger but also opportunity. Humans were unpredictable. That was their edge. He nodded. Do it. Mara prepped the environmental trap. Tuvin handled the misdirection signal. We survived this by being smarter, not faster. As Mara rerouted energy to remote asteroid triggers, Caleb could feel the tension like a live wire in the cabin. Sparks from the damaged engine sizzled near his boots. Outside, the alien scouts closed in, their formation precise, relentless. Caleb gritted his teeth and whispered almost to himself, humans survive where others fail. Always. A sudden tremor rocked the Nomad. The first asteroid trap had activated, blocking the scouts' path. One ship veered sharply and collided with debris, sparks and fire illuminating the darkness of space. The others hesitated. Good, Mara muttered. Now for phase 2. Caleb exhaled, heart pounding. The dreadnought was still out there, approaching fast. But for the first time, humans had the advantage of thinking beyond brute force. The galaxy expected humans to be weak, predictable, foolish, but that expectation was their weapon. Tuvin's voice broke the momentary silence. They're buying it. They think we're cornered, desperate. They don't know humans improvise under pressure. Caleb's lips curled into a grim smile. Then let's make them regret underestimating us. As the Nomad veered toward a narrow gap between two massive asteroids, the scouts hesitated again, unsure. The trap was working, but only barely. One wrong move could crush them all. Yet in that danger, Caleb felt the familiar thrill of human courage, the exhilaration of facing impossible odds and refusing to yield. A distant flash on the sensors signaled the dreadnought's arrival. Its massive silhouette loomed closer, engines burning like a small sun. Caleb's stomach tightened, but determination surged. They weren't just running. They were fighting with brains, guts, and every ounce of ingenuity humans had ever relied on. And as the Nomad prepared to dive through the narrowest gap in the asteroid field, Caleb knew one thing for certain: survival wasn't guaranteed. But humans never backed down. The galaxy thought they were small and weak. They were about to learn the truth. The first scout fired. Sparks flew. The Nomad shuddered. And the chase truly began. Caleb's hands ached as he steered the Nomad through the jagged asteroid maze, sparks from the hull lighting the cabin in staccato flashes. The dreadnought's massive engines glowed like molten suns in the distance, relentless, unstoppable, or so it seemed. But humans thrived on impossible odds. That was their edge. Phase 2 ready, Mara said, eyes glued to her console. She had rerouted every ounce of energy into a network of plasma pulses she could trigger remotely. If we can manipulate the asteroid field just right, we might slow them down long enough to escape, or better, make them think we're performing a miracle. Caleb arched an eyebrow. Miracle? Mara's lips twitched with grim amusement. A human miracle, if you will. Something flashy, something so absurd that they won't believe it could be coincidence. They already expect us to be small and weak. Let's give them the opposite. Tuvin nodded from the rear cabin. I've calculated alien fleet psychology. They're rigid in tactics. They expect humans to panic. If we manipulate what they see, we control their perception. They'll hesitate, and hesitation is our weapon. Caleb leaned forward. Then let's do it. Show them what humans are capable of. The Nomad hurtled toward a massive cluster of asteroids, tight enough that even one miscalculation could destroy the ship. Mara triggered the plasma pulses. Asteroids shifted, glowing briefly as they repelled and collided with calculated precision. The alien scouts faltered, unsure of how the humans had manipulated the environment so flawlessly. They think we're supernaturally skilled, Tuvin said quietly, a small smile crossing his face. They don't realize it's just human ingenuity. Caleb felt a surge of pride and fear. Pride because humans had done the impossible again, fear because one wrong move could obliterate them. But that fear was familiar. Humans had always turned fear into fuel. Suddenly, the sensors picked up a massive spike of energy. The dreadnought was charging a weapon capable of vaporizing the Nomad in seconds. Caleb's stomach tightened. Mara, can we redirect its focus? Make it look like an effect of the asteroid field? Mara's fingers flew over the console, rerouting the ship's shields, manipulating energy readings, creating holographic distortions. It's risky. If they detect the manipulation, we're done. Caleb pressed the throttle forward. The Nomad darted between two massive asteroids, sparks spraying as the hull grazed a jagged edge. Outside, the dreadnought hesitated, unsure if firing would hit the target or destroy the field, and possibly itself. Now! Caleb yelled. Mara triggered the final plasma pulse. A massive asteroid shifted, blocking the dreadnought's weapon path. Sparks and energy cascaded, creating a brilliant display visible even through the ship's viewports. Alien scouts interpreted it as a miraculous human defense. Caleb felt adrenaline surge. Humans had turned improvisation into spectacle. It wasn't magic, it was calculation, courage, and perfect timing, but to the aliens, it was indistinguishable from a miracle. Tuvin tapped into alien communications. They're sending signals of confusion. They think we're performing some advanced technique, beyond their comprehension. They're debating whether to attack or retreat. Caleb's heart pounded. Good. Confusion is survival. But the dreadnought was not done. Its massive form shifted, engines blazing, preparing another strike. Caleb's mind raced. They couldn't just keep dodging. The galaxy expected humans to perform miracles, and now, somehow, they had to. Mara's eyes lit up with sudden realization. We can make it look like we're delivering gifts across multiple planets just like the lie said. Comet fragments, energy pulses, light displays, we can coordinate them to simulate interstellar distribution. Caleb blinked. You mean, trick them into thinking we're doing the impossible? Exactly, Mara said. It's insane. It's dangerous. And it's brilliant. Human brilliance. Tuvin grinned. They'll see it as the miracle itself. Not deception. Humans outsmarting the galaxy just like always. Caleb's pulse quickened. Do it. Every system, every pulse, every fragment. Make it shine. Make them believe. Outside, the Nomad launched coordinated pulses of energy, comets redirected along precise trajectories, light displays flashing across multiple star systems. Alien scouts paused, mesmerized, sending frantic messages to each other. Some wondered if humans had somehow harnessed forces the galaxy had never seen. Inside the Nomad, Caleb felt the weight of the impossible on his shoulders. Every pulse, every maneuver was a gamble. One misstep, one wrong calculation, and they'd all be gone. Yet humans had always thrived in this space. Where others saw limits, humans saw opportunity. As the last sequence of pulses launched, a scout attempted to fire. The energy display flickered, reflecting off sensors and creating an illusion of massive human force. The scout misfired, narrowly avoiding an asteroid, and retreated. The dreadnought hesitated, massive form frozen against the brilliance of human ingenuity. Caleb exhaled. It's working. They believe it. Mara smiled briefly, exhaustion and exhilaration written across her face. For now. Tuvin leaned back, his hybrid eyes glowing faintly. For now, humans have turned a lie into legend. But the galaxy won't stop here. They'll demand proof. They'll expect more. We've only just begun. Caleb's grip tightened on the console. He knew Tuvin was right. The galaxy had seen humans at their audacious best, and they would want more. The chase wasn't over, it was escalating. And as distant alien fleets regrouped, debating whether to follow, attack, or retreat, Caleb realized one truth humans had always lived by. Survival wasn't just about strength, it was about courage, creativity, and the willingness to do what no one else dared. The Nomad shot forward, comet trails blazing behind it, a tiny human vessel weaving miracles in the void of space. The galaxy had taken notice. But somewhere deep in the expanse, a massive signal began activating. A fleet larger than any they had faced, converging with precision and speed. Caleb saw it on the sensors, a shadow rising across the stars. And he knew, the true test was about to begin. Caleb's eyes narrowed as the massive alien fleet spread across the expanse. Thousands of ships, each one a predator designed to crush anything small and weak. The Nomad was a speck against that shadow, but humans had never relied on size. They relied on audacity, courage, and brains. Mara, Caleb said, voice tight, we can't outrun them forever. Every second they close, every second we delay, they'll destroy us. Mara's fingers flew across the console. Her mind was a storm of calculations, reroutes, and energy manipulations. I've been thinking. We don't just run. We turn this lie into a display they can't ignore. Something impossible. Something that makes them believe humans are miraculous. Tuvin, sitting in the rear cabin, tilted his head. You mean, a human miracle? Using reality instead of deception? Yes, Mara said. We can redirect the comets, trigger plasma pulses across planetary systems, and create synchronized energy displays. It'll look like we're delivering gifts to hundreds of worlds at once. They'll see it as cosmic scale. They'll think humans are legendary. Caleb hesitated. You realize the odds of this working? One misstep, one miscalculation, and the Nomad doesn't survive. Mara met his gaze. I know. But humans survive where others fail. We've done worse on less. Caleb's chest tightened. The alien fleet was closing faster now, no hesitation, no mistakes, just raw power and calculated precision. He exhaled and nodded. Then let's make history. Mara activated the pulse sequence. Energy flowed from the Nomad into the asteroid field, reflecting and amplifying through the plasma trails. Comets were nudged into precise paths, leaving luminous arcs across multiple star systems. Alien scouts paused, unsure what they were witnessing. Tuvin's voice was steady, but Caleb could hear the tension beneath it. They're seeing humans operate beyond logic. Their sensors can't distinguish improvisation from super-advanced technology. They're debating if we're something else. Caleb gritted his teeth. Good. Confusion is our ally. Fear is our weapon. But the dreadnought remained, a massive form bristling with weapons capable of incinerating the Nomad in seconds. Caleb calculated distances, energy dispersals, and timing with the precision of a human who had no choice but to win. "Ready?" he asked. Mara's fingers hovered. "As ready as we'll ever be." The Nomad dove through a narrow gap between two massive asteroids. Plasma pulses reflected, creating blinding flashes. Comets streaked across the void in synchronized arcs, appearing to descend upon distant planets. The alien scouts gasped, if they could gasp, broadcasting frantic communications across the fleet. Caleb could feel his heart in his throat. The dreadnought fired. Massive energy beams tore toward the Nomad, but Mara had already manipulated the asteroid positions, forcing the beams to deflect, harmlessly striking debris and igniting small plasma bursts. "They think it's a miracle," Tuvin whispered. "Humans have turned survival into spectacle. They can't believe it." Caleb leaned into the console, sweat streaking his face. Every pulse, every trajectory, every tiny adjustment mattered. One wrong calculation could end everything. But humans were nothing if not adaptive. A fleet commander attempted to fire the main battery. Caleb triggered a mirror of plasma pulses, creating multiple illusions of the Nomad across sensor arrays. The dreadnought's targeting failed. It fired again, hitting nothing but asteroid fragments. Mara's voice cracked with excitement. "It's working. They believe it." Caleb exhaled, gripping the console so tightly his knuckles whitened. Humans had always relied on audacity, yes, but this was beyond audacity. This was genius under pressure. Humans had taken a lie and turned it into an impossible reality. The alien fleet began pulling back, reluctant, confused, awestruck. Scouts reported impossible energy patterns, comets moving with intent, light shows across star systems that no technology should be able to produce. Every calculation, every improvisation, every ounce of courage had paid off. Tuvin leaned back, voice steady. "They'll call this a miracle. They'll study it for decades trying to replicate it. Humans have made a legend." Caleb allowed himself a brief smile. Mara's eyes sparkled, exhaustion and triumph mingling. The Nomad was battered, scratched, and smoking in sections, but it had survived. Humans had survived. And somewhere across the expanse, alien civilizations began sending messages of awe and respect. The myth of the human miracle had begun. They didn't know it was improvisation, ingenuity, and courage, they just knew humans had done something no one else could. Caleb glanced at the stars. He thought of the countless humans before him who had survived impossible odds, who had thrived despite being underestimated. They had relied on courage, intellect, and stubborn determination. And now, the galaxy would remember that humans were never to be dismissed. Mara's voice softened. "We did it, but they'll expect more now." Caleb nodded, looking at the distant stars lighting up in artificial brilliance. "Let them. Humans survive. Humans shine. And humans always find a way." A distant transmission blinked onto the console. Hundreds of star systems were sending inquiries, questions, awestruck messages. The galaxy wanted proof. They wanted humans to repeat the impossible. Caleb exhaled, adrenaline still thrumming in his veins. This was bigger than survival. Bigger than any prank. Humans had made themselves a legend. And the chase wasn't over. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was preparing for what humans might do next, and they had no idea what they were in for. The Nomad sailed through the expanse, battered but alive, comet trails still shimmering behind it like a human signature across the stars. Caleb looked at Mara and Tuvin. "Next, we make them believe it wasn't a fluke. We make them remember humans forever." And somewhere deep in the void, alien fleets reconsidered everything they knew about humans. Small, chaotic, unpredictable, yes, but also extraordinary, daring, and capable of turning impossibility into legend. The galaxy had witnessed a human miracle. And it was only the beginning. The Nomad drifted through the calm of the Orion expanse, its hull scarred, smoke still curling from damaged sections, but its crew alive and triumphant. Caleb leaned back in the pilot's seat, exhaustion settling deep in his bones. For days they had danced on the edge of annihilation, facing alien fleets that outgunned, outnumbered, and outclassed them at every turn. And yet here they were. Humans had survived, not by brute force but by audacity, ingenuity, and courage. Mara sat beside him, fingers tracing the burned edges of a console. "I can't believe it worked," she said softly. "They actually believe it. All of it." Caleb smiled faintly, though fatigue weighed on him like gravity. "It's more than belief. They respect us now. They fear us a little too." Tuvin's hybrid eyes glimmered as he scanned the galaxy-wide communications. Every major system is sending messages. Requests for humans to appear, to guide, to perform again. He shook his head. They don't understand that humans survived this by improvising, not by miracle. But that doesn't matter. They'll treat humans as extraordinary. Finally, Caleb leaned against the hull window, watching distant stars glitter against the void. We turned a lie into legend. Who would have thought? Mara let out a laugh, low and incredulous. It was a lie, yes. But humans make legends real. That's always been our way. The Nomad sensors flickered with the flood of alien transmissions, thousands of voices, thousands of requests and declarations. Across the galaxy, civilizations were celebrating human Christmas. Not the holiday itself, but the audacity of humans to survive, to create, to inspire. Every light pulse, every comet trail, every manipulated asteroid, interpreted as a miracle, had become a symbol of human brilliance. Caleb's mind drifted to the irony. A prank, a joke, a story fabricated to amuse, had become a turning point in human history. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. They would be small, chaotic, unpredictable, but extraordinary. Courageous, brilliant, unyielding. Do you think they'll ever know it was us improvising? Mara asked, voice quieter now, tinged with both pride and concern. Caleb shook his head. Does it matter? Humans survived. Humans triumphed. That's enough. Legends aren't about truth, they're about courage, intelligence, and action when no one else can. We showed that. And that's all that counts. Tuvin smiled faintly. I think humans have changed the galaxy. Not just by surviving but by inspiring. Every civilization that witnessed this will remember that small beings, underestimated beings, can shape the cosmos with nothing but courage and determination. Caleb's chest tightened. He had always known humans were underestimated. On Earth, on distant colonies, even among themselves, humans were small, chaotic, and often overlooked. But the galaxy had learned something new. When humans were pushed to the edge, when survival was impossible, they did not falter. They adapted. They fought. They shone. The Nomad's engines hummed softly, a lullaby in the aftermath of chaos. Caleb exhaled, feeling the tension finally drain from his muscles. He looked at Mara and Tuvin, their faces lit with relief and quiet triumph. We did it. The galaxy believes. Humans are respected. Maybe even revered. Mara's grin returned, brief but radiant. And all from a lie. Imagine what we could do if we actually meant to be heroes. Caleb chuckled, but his mind was already racing. The galaxy had seen what humans could accomplish when forced into impossible situations. Other civilizations would test them, push them, demand miracles. But humans had proven one truth above all. Size, number, and technology were meaningless against audacity, courage, and creativity. Tuvin's voice cut through Caleb's thoughts. We need to decide our next move. The galaxy will expect more. We can't just hide anymore. Caleb nodded slowly, resolve hardening. We don't hide. We lead. Humans have always survived against impossible odds, and now, we inspire. That's our role. Not just survival, guidance, example, hope. Outside, distant worlds shimmered in celebration, as if echoing the human spirit. Stars lit up in unnatural, beautiful patterns, trails of comets, pulses of energy, a cosmic spectacle born of improvisation and courage. It was a lie made legend, and the galaxy didn't need to know the truth. Humans had made themselves unforgettable. Caleb leaned back, thinking of Earth, of colonies scattered across distant systems, of humans still underestimated, still overlooked. This victory wasn't just for the Nomad crew, it was for all humans. Every doubt, every scornful glance, every time someone said humans were too small to matter, now invalid. Every civilization that witnessed the display would remember humans. Mara reached over, lightly tapping Caleb's arm. We survived. We turned a joke into a legacy. That's human. Caleb allowed himself a smile. Yes, that's exactly human. Small, chaotic, underestimated, but brilliant. Courageous. Indomitable. Tuvin added quietly, almost to himself, and the galaxy will never forget it. Humanity has left its mark, not by weapons, not by conquest, but by intelligence, daring, and audacity. Caleb gazed into the stars, heart swelling with emotion. Humans had always been underestimated, but they had survived. They had triumphed against impossible odds. And they had inspired the entire galaxy to believe in the impossible. The Nomad continued its journey through the expanse, trails of light stretching across the void like a signature carved in starlight. The legend of the human miracle had begun, and it would echo for generations. Somewhere alien fleets paused, hesitant, uncertain. A small, chaotic species had proven they could shape the galaxy, not with size nor weapons but with courage, ingenuity, and the determination to survive. Caleb exhaled deeply, feeling the weight of history settle around him. He glanced at Mara and Tuvin, knowing that humans were small, unpredictable, and chaotic, but they were extraordinary. And in that moment the galaxy understood. Humans had arrived.